Okay, we've got an exclusive for you, BWTM fans. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are live from Russia with the trainer of Umar Sadiq, who challenges Chudinov for the WBA title. Let us talk to trainer Tony Cessay on the phone. Tony, how are you doing?
Oh, good, my man. Good, very good. I can't sleep because of the magnitude of this event. You know, for Umar, I can't sleep. All I'm doing is just thinking and watching fights of the past that Chudinov had and how he's, you know, and how to beat him. You know, we've been doing this for the last 3 weeks that we've been told about this fight.
Okay.
You know, and we just try to, you know, come up with the perfect plan to beat him.
So talk to us about how this fight came about in the first place. I know you were talking about it before. There were some rumors. I mean, you just mentioned that Umar had a fight in Russia. I know you did talk about it, but you didn't go into great detail about it. But you did tell us that Umar would be fighting in Russia. So tell us how the fight came about in the first place.
Oh well, it just came about where they called Umar. That was it. They were, you know, they got in touch with Frank Warren Promotion, and from there they asked Umar, "Does he want it?" And Umar said yes, and that was it. You know, and then Umar said, you know, he didn't know if it was going to be done, and you know, till probably last week. You know, because there was if and an ahhing, and you know what was going to be at stake, what was going to happen, you know, and we didn't really know. But with Umar, he stays fit, he stays ready for anything, for anybody. And you know, this fight here, he's really thought about it, and we've thought about it. You know, me and Lionel. And thought, yes, he can be beat. When we've seen most of his fights and watched him, and yeah, he's very strong. He's still dangerous. You know, any good Russian fighter with a history of titles, and you know, you always got to be careful because they're well schooled. You know,
so. I mean, I know you say that Umar's always in the gym or always ticking over, but there's a difference between, you know, being fight fit or kind of like in the gym fit and then ready for competition fit, and then the magnitude of what Umar's at for this fight. So, I mean, how fit is Umar in terms of for the magnitude of this particular fight?
Oh, he's fit. He's very fit. Me and the team really do make sure he's in for a good, fantastic night for himself. He knows he has to be in great shape to for this magnitude of this fight. He knows he's fighting the world champion. This is a world champion, so you have to be really ready. You have to be every part of your structure of what you do has to be ready. Your eating, your running, your strength work, all has to be done. And the good thing about Umar, you know, is that he gets himself ready. He's got the right people, which support him and help him with everything. He's got, strength and conditioners. Which Ricky helps him with that. Where's the place now? Tilbury. They've got a new fitness centre in Tilbury.
Okay.
And he's been there, and it's really valued him. It's really made his legs stronger, and you're going to see a different Umar Sadiq from when he first started. And he boxed certain people, and you wouldn't think he would be at this stage fighting for a world champion on his 11th, 12th fight.
So what do you think are the keys to victory for obviously you can't say that because people are still listening in. So let me change the question. In terms of being out in Russia at the moment, how have you found it? Because you hear a lot of stories about Russia, um, and this can happen. You're fighting in his backyard. How have you found it? Have you been extra aware because you hear the stories about Russia? I know you've got international experience,
I
so
mean, you're aware of any other country, any country, that, even your own country.
yeah, you're right.
People who do things to, to spite you. So, I mean, he's ready for that. He knows what happened, what boxing's all about. And, these things happen, and you've got to be ready. So he's ready. We've watched everything. We've looked at everything, and we've made sure we're on guard and we're waiting, because the way he challenges himself physically, mentally, he is a proper, athlete. And to get one of those young people, for what he was doing many years ago, and then going into college, university, then, being an accountant, he didn't have to do this boxing. I really didn't want him to do this boxing. He phoned me one day and he said to me, "What should I do? I really want to box, but I've got this in accounting job." I said, "Listen, think of yourself. Think of your life. If you really think you can do with boxing, because you're good with what you do. Every time you do whatever you do, you're good at it." So he knew that he could have been an accountant earning lots of money right now. He studied for college, university to do this. So he didn't really need the boxing, but for him, it was a challenge in the sense that everybody else who I developed well, and they've gone out and did their stuff, and he could see that they were doing well, and he knew, because moving around with them and sparring with them and being a part of them for many years, he knew he could be just like them, and that's what made him turn professional, and I wasn't there with him at the time. He chose, because I'm an amateur man. I love the amateur scene. I love the only reason why I turned pro coach, because the boys that I coached, I just wanted to help them, make them into something they always wanted to be, and that's a world champion. He's got this opportunity right now to make that happen, and you'll do anything in the world. They're like my children, my kids. So I've known them for so long and grown them up, and you just want to be there with them to make sure they get the right path. They get the right path. They know the right things, and bring in the people which will value that.
What do you think are the physical attributes that will make this fight favourable for Umar?
Just listen to the instructions that we've been telling him, and that's all he's got to do, because he's fit. You're going to see a different kid, believe me. You're going to see a different person, an athlete, and somebody who's just, who's going to come, because to come to Russia and box, everything that you have to face, the Russian people are fantastic. They're brilliant. They've been good to us, and I've never really thought of, Russian people being this. I think it's the new generation of Russian people. I think they're fantastic. They're more or less, they've got radio stations which listen to, Western music, and they've got, the way they wear their clothes and the way they've still got their culture. They still love their culture, but they really do, bond with other people, and I'm out here, black man, they don't even budge and look, where other countries do, look and stare at you, they just smile and they welcome you. It's unbelievable. So for that, I would even think of buying a house out here. Believe me, it's been such a thrilling experience in the way they've looked after us. It's been mind blowing.
It's interesting you say that, because you know, as a black man, I'm glad you've made that point. As a black man being out there in Russia, there's a lot of, I won't say stereotypes, but a lot of ideas people have all out in Russia and all the sort of stuff that maybe be associated through Russia, either through media or through propaganda. As a black man, what does it feel like being out there?
It feels like you're loved. It's unbelievable, you know, the love you're getting out here is, I think, you know, whatever these, you know, because it's half and half. I feel, you know, half and half, where some people love Putin way, and some people, and half of the people don't. You know what I mean? Because it's the new generation, the young people growing up, which, you know, are finding it very pleasant to live and to do things in Russia the way that they want to do, where and mixing with the other world, with the outside world, where before it wasn't happening like that, because where they were so, you know, culturalized just to stay within themselves. And I think that's finished now. You know, the new generation now are exploring, they're doing things, they're seeing different cultures, they're looking into their phones and their history, they're knowing their own history, and people that, you know, have come from different parts of their country, you know, and living in their country, from Asia, people coming in from, you know, and Kurdistan, people coming in from China, people coming in from all over. It's unbelievable. It's so big. It's unbelievable, the scale of what you're seeing in Russia, what they have. It's massive. You know, it's got to be the biggest country, you know, in the world. You know, we talk about America being big and Africa being big, but Jesus, when you look at Russia, you know, it's unbelievable.
So,
and I think the people now are becoming unbelievable with that.
So, does that make more sense to you as to why Roy Jones has made Russia his second home?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I would make Russia my second home. I'm telling you now, from how we've been treated, you know, it's given false pretense. You know, we see these American Russian films, you know, and we see our own, you know, this has happened, that's happened. It's you don't get to hear or see, or people talk to you. You know, people just come and tell you, you know, all these jokes, all the things that, you know, about other people's culture, and you don't get that here. They don't slang us and tell us about, you know, about our culture. You know, they just want to know. They're very excited to know. I'm talking about the young people. These people now, which are growing up, they're developing a different mindset. You know, it's not the old school where, you know, Lenin had them all thinking this way and that way. You know, it's amazing how these young people are thinking that and really getting into their art. And when you see the buildings, it's extraordinary. You know, Russia itself is just a brilliant, beautiful place, and people should come out more to look at it. And I think it should be open more, because the way that the country is run, which I don't think the young people really want, that is that it's, you know, they don't want so many people coming in to make it very hard for people to come in. You know, where they should have more people coming into the country from all different, because they've had that for you know, thousands of years. They've had this, you know, Genghis Khans and all the different people from different, where, you know, it's helped their country build a great nation. So they've had that, but I think to let in, you know, the Africa and other countries in, you know, around that, I think that's what they want to do now. I think that's what they get.
So,
you know?
so
it's very hard.
So I know that Chudinov's promoter is a well-known Russian promoter. Obviously you got to speak to the man. What's he like?
Oh, he's very funny, very witty. It's unbelievable. You know, he cracks the little jokes. He tells you about your small island, with a big punch. You know what I mean? And they're bigger, they're big land that they have. They always remind us our small island, but we have a mighty small island. You know, we've got some good athletes on our island. You know, so yeah, we're very proud of our small island.
So obviously you always obviously would have got to have met Chudinov as well. What's he been like to be around?
Oh, he's very pleasant, nice and easygoing. Doesn't say much, you know, but you know he nods and waves, and you know he says his bit. You don't talk you know English, you know.
Okay.
We're there through an interpreter and what he said and what he wants to do, and it's not much really, because you know Umar said a lot more than he does, and the pressure's not on Umar. You got to remember, he's a world-class fighter. He's the one who wanted this fight. You know, they've made they've made a really bad mistake, I feel. You know, because Umar is going to take this opportunity and make sure he will be known out there now in the world, because you know all he has to do is take this man to the brink, you know, and if he does that, he's won. Even if they rob him, do you understand? We know that he has to stop the fella. You know, I know that, and he knows that. So we've got the plan. We planned everything. So we just got to wait for today. Today's the day when he does that, and he will do it, because he's a changed athlete. He's prepared.
I mean, that being said, because you have to go for you know, it's perceived you have to go for knockout, and you can't get a win on the cards, or it would be perceived you can't get a win on the cards. Does that force Umar's hand that bit more when he's fighting than whether he'd be fighting in England?
So again?
Does that force his hand? Does it force Umar's hand?
Because he knows what he has to do. And even if they rob him, and I'll still be jumping up and down and saying, yes, we won, and we know we won it. He doesn't. They will be so, you know, upset with what had gone on that they would have to arrange another match. Do you know what I mean? They'd have to have a rematch, because when you've seen somebody being, you know, demolished in the way that you see people in the eyes, they get themselves a rematch. The only time that don't happen is when they know that they want it, but down the line they have to meet again, you know. And we'll probably, you know, but I know my hand on my heart that this won't happen. Umar would really make a fool out of him. He will really go to town on him, and really it will show his class. It will show what he has to do.
I mean, looking at it from Chudinov's point of view, he probably looks at Umar Sadiq as a stepping stone.
Yes.
A knockover job.
They have made a mistake, bad mistake, you know, and for him, a man who's always ready. They didn't think he was going to be ready. They didn't think he was training, you know, with this lockdown and everything like that, you know, this whole pandemic. So, but he hasn't. He has been. So that was one thing. And the mindset that the boy has is unbelievable, you know. So he knows, he's very positive, and them seeing that at the press conference today, they saw that they can't intimidate him. He's not intimidated. You know, he's just relaxed, cool, and they've seen that, so they know now to play all them tricks on him. They can't do that. So they have to go and look for today. Today is the day that they find out that this kid can box. That this kid has got a brain to go and do things that people get an opportunity. You know, like Rocky. It's a Rocky opportunity, and you know, Rocky didn't even win, but he gave such a good fight that he had to get another opportunity. And when he got that opportunity, he made it work. Yeah. Do you understand? And that's when he built his brand. He built everything about his, you know. And that's the same thing. You're getting that Rocky story. You're seeing it. this is the Rocky story.
Yeah.
He's gonna develop from this.
Okay. Fantastic. So, just to close this particular situation off, the man of the moment, Alexander Povetkin, will he be in attendance? Have you got to meet him yet?
No, I don't know. I don't know if he will be, but I hope he is. He'll see a great match. Great boxing match, and I hope he is. I met him before, but yeah, he is, man. So it'd be good to meet him again.
Your thoughts on, obviously we spoke about Povetkin versus White, and you were a believer that Povetkin was going to get knocked out by White. What are your thoughts now, having seen the fight yourself?
Oh, to see the fight and the thinking. I mean, the whole thing that I did say will be, I thought yes, Dillian would win the fight. I did say that, and he would have won the fight if they didn't change a lot of his style. If they would have kept Dillian the way that he usually was, heavy-handed and throws them shots heavy. You know what I mean? They made him look like he was Sugar Ray Leonard.
I said that myself. I said it myself.
And it wasn't effective because if Dillian was, was himself, he looked brilliant. He looked fantastic. There was nothing wrong with that. But Povetkin was still there. If you knock a man down twice and you don't take him out, it shows that okay, you're looking to take him for these brands. You've changed him. You've changed what he's always been about, meaning that the big shots come out from over the top and the body, and it weren't like that. And this is the problem when I did tell you that, I said when they change coaches, it'll be a little bit of a problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I said that.
You said that, and I said yes, and I agreed with it. I said this could be a problem there again, But I was hoping for Dillian to win because he's from England, and I always want
of course
to do well.
Of course, of course.
I was broken-hearted when he took that shot. But like you say, he had taken shots like that before, got off the ground, and and come back and done things. But when you do take shots like that, you've got to take measures, because if you're being hit and you've been on the floor so many times, so many fights, that your coaches that you have got to take precautions. They've got to make these things don't happen again. And I think with someone like with Mark, he heard his voice, he knew his voice, and Mark would say to him, listen, don't, and he would listen to Mark, and all of a sudden now you've got two people which are, good coaches, really, respectable, done a lot, but you've got two people both shouting. But you understand? So
yeah, confusion.
Your two voices, when you've listened to one voice for 3-4 years, the 4 or 5 years he's been with him, and then you all this stuff done, and you've got a voice that you're not so used to, and I think that was a problem. They changed him to this lovely, elegant boxing.
Well, I said it. I called it.
He looked beautiful. But
it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you're trying to get a boxer, you're trying to get a puncher and a slugger into trying to make him into Floyd Mayweather, and that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work, is it? Because the guy's just coming into this game not so long ago. Understand? So it's not like he's had junior fights and he's gone, he boxed for Young England or whatever, Young Jamaica, and then he's come back into being a senior, and then he's only had 7 amateur fights, and then all of a sudden he turned pro. And it's a learning process from that. You learn. Do you know what I mean? You learn every fight. You're learning, and this is why you've got to really be careful for the young kids today. It's now with this epidemic happening, they're all turning pro. all these young kids are turning pro because they don't know when boxing's going to be back. And this is the hardship of, you know, these amateur coaches who've done a lot for these young kids, and they just turn pro just like that. You know, and you know, I'm a great lover of the amateur sport. You know, I've only just been a professional coach for a year, and but I've always been in professional boxing.
Yes.
You know, I've had loads of professional friends who have turned professional and done very well. But I've always been there. I've always been in corners, even when you're not meant to be. I've always been there. You know, I've always been in matches, and so, you know, I knew the game anyway. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, I knew the game. I knew what to do, how to do it, and it's. You've seen the product of what I've developed through the years, and they've turned pro. I've given to the people to go and do what they love doing, and now I've got these kids who are really going to do well, because now they've said to me, "Come and help me, Tony. Please, you've been on. You know, I want you to come and see my journey. I want you to be a part of that journey."
Wow.
And that's what I've done. So I've done it for them because I want them to do well. And look what's happened. You know, a year into my pro career, bam, and it's only a year, but people know me in the game, the pro game, for years. I used to spar pros. I used to go and, you know, go and watch them, you know, and a lot of them are good friends of mine. So it's a game that I know. Boxing, amateur boxing, pro boxing, I've known for years, you know.
Okay, let me throw this at you. The rematch. Eddie Hearn's talking about immediate rematch. And what are your thoughts about DILLIAN White trying to get this pushing for this immediate rematch?
Well, it is. You know, I would have expected that, you know, POVETKIN and his team would think about it again. Wow, you know, I would really think that they would think, well, why not wait a few months and have to get more money, you know, fighting, because I could be the next one for the next, after these big boys fight, I could be the next one in line. And I think that's what they think. I think, you know, for what they're going to get off of, you know, Eddie, and for what they can get for being the next in line is a lot more. And I think, you know, that's what I think will happen. You know, if he does come back for the rematch, wow, you know, because a lot of people wouldn't, you know, they will think about it. They say, you know, you've got this in the clause, but he doesn't have to take it, does he? You know,
yeah,
he doesn't really have to take it. But you know, contract is nothing, isn't it anymore? You know, it's nothing. Whatever you write, whatever you don't have to, you know, abide by it. If you're next in line for that, and they see that you are and you've done your work, come on. Things could always happen. Now he could move on and do something different, and then he'd have to go another route.
That's exactly what Mike Tyson's former trainer Stacey McKinley told us on the channel. He says, "Why does POVETKIN have to go back? POVETKIN should just move forward."
Yes, for me, you know, if I had a fighter and he just, you know, in line, he's next in line, I'm waiting for the next in line. I'm telling you, because I know that fighter and all that crew and all that team we're in the money. Carl, you know, we'll be there. So I think there'll be, you know, some big things happening with that. You know,
would you stick White in with an immediate rematch with POVETKIN?
The immediate, I think. Well, for me now, I've seen what I see, and the way they've changed him. You know, it's like he's turned into a boxer, and so, you know, the power isn't there. You know, they should try and, you know, take him back to being nice. So, you know, because he was getting better anyway with Mark Tibbs.
Yep.
He was getting better and better. You know, standing up straight, hitting the 1-2 straight and the jabs. That's all you need. You know, and better footwork. That's all you need. But he needs to be that aggressive, not try and be like, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, and what's the name, Mayweather, doing all these other things and trying to slip shots. What, you know, he says he's used to slipping and doing. He just didn't catch it. No, just think of what he always used to do. You know, cover up and then go bang back and throw them big gooping shots and keep. Because when he throws them shots, he breaks down the fighter, the opponent. He breaks them down. You know, over the top, and you know he's getting more balanced. He's getting more. So when you look at a fighter like that, you just have to keep doing them good things that they're good at. Don't try and make him a Mayweather when he ain't never going to be a Mayweather.
Exactly. You know? Exactly.
Or never going to be. He's not. You know, he's been in the game limited amount of time. So what you've got to do, and then he takes these fights. He takes these fights 50-50, and they are 50-50 fights. They're not like fights that say that he's going to, you know, he's going to just win them. They're 50-50 fights, and he's used to doing it because he's getting the money, you know, and he's happy with that. He's doing well, but. You know, like I said, he should have kept the same fella, you know, and things would have been better.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you know, for me, what I seem to have heard why, you know, the parting of companies was because he couldn't go out to for where they were training for 3 months because Mark. He loves his family, and he's always been the same. You know, the whole family the same. It's a loving family. See, they can't be away from each other. And he's got a missus, got a kid, and you know, he loves his kid. So he always talks to his kid and show you pictures of, you know, and you know that he could be no longer than a week away. He's you know, he goes up the wall. So loves his family. See, and I think that's what I've seem to feel what had happened, and I think they should have made a little room for him because he's been with the group for so many years, and now it's getting to the times that, you know, they could have devoted different pathways for him to train. You know, he didn't have to spend. I don't think you have to spend 3-4 months away away for somewhere where you've been doing stuff. So you could have had a month in Portugal, and in another, you know, month here, whatever, 2 months here, then go away again, you know, for altitude training.
Yeah.
You know, but for your camp to be away for, you know, and then you know, then the kids would have been growing up, and it would have been more, you know.
Yeah.
Relaxing, you know. But when you just had a kid which is very young, you tend not to really want to go too far, especially if you're a loving, you know,
father,
couple, you know, loving family.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a shame, but I mean, I could see,
and that was the whole thing about this. I don't think it would never happen. I don't think that would have happened that way. Because I've never seen. You know,
Dillian fight that way.
A shot like that. I've seen him get caught with a straight shot. And
but he got dropped. He got dropped by Rivas. He got dropped by Rivas under Mark Tibbs, remember?
Yes, but he got back up again and he done well. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, and that was a good shot. But this shot, you're not getting up from that shot. Jesus, you know what I mean? That was like a rocket hitting him.
He said that he wasn't Sparko, and he said that he was well aware, but the referee said he got hit with too hard a punch.
No, he was gone. You could see he was laying there. You know, the team didn't even know what to do. They look how long it took for them to get into the ring because they were all shocked. You know, and these are experienced, you know, coaches. You know, one of them. You know, very experienced coach. He didn't know what to do. You were hearing too many voices. You know, and
but to me, I cannot work out for the life of me why you would box to a game plan that suits slow your fight plan down, or slow the fight down to box at a game plan that suits a far more experienced fighter, an older fighter. Surely you want to fight at a faster tempo to put pressure on the older man.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. but they also had a good game plan in the sense the way he was boxing, but it was the
how could it? But I don't. But Tony, I don't understand how it could have been a good game plan. You are warming the old man up.
Because he was winning. He was winning. If he didn't
okay.
Get caught, if he didn't get caught, he would have won that on you know, hands down.
Well, come on,
Tony. And then, but you know that next time when you fight someone with quality and can hit, you ain't gonna do that with someone like Fury.
But look at Povetkin.
You're not gonna be able to box Fury like that.
Yeah, but you look at the gaps in Dillian's defense, right? I called it. Dillian's defense is leaky. He can get hit slip under, uppercut. That's how Rivas dropped him. Or you can go over the top, which is what Povetkin was throwing 2 punches. He was going under and he was going over. Yeah. Under and over, and he eventually got under.
He's a learning progress, meaning that he's progressing and he's learning.
Yeah, but if you're learning a certain way, why would you then change the game plan for the biggest fight of your career and then go against your game plan? Makes you so good.
Because that's the way these coaches, train the airport fighters, and they shouldn't have looked at that.
No, that's an ego thing. That's an ego thing. I've been coaching over 20 years. That's an ego thing. That's saying, you know what? I'm gonna put my mark on this fighter. People need to know how I train a fighter, rather than.
That's not a good way to that you said. Definitely right. What you just said is like the ego thing.
Of course, it's an ego thing.
You can't do that. You can't afford to be that way as a coach.
And the thing is,
you've got to stick to the game plan. Is the way that kid boxes.
How exactly?
You've got to develop it again and again to the way he fights, and then you can start adding bits to that way. And make it, because the confidence will flow through that fighter anyway as he gets. More and more experience. The experience you're getting for when you fight.
And you see, and then what you're doing, you slow a fighter down. When you slow a fighter down, you're slowing a fighter down. You're making him more methodical.
It's definitely going to be slowed. Come on.
And then your killer instinct. Where's the killer instinct? There's no killer instinct.
It's definitely going to be slowed. Wow.
Boxing like an amateur.
I'm in the corner of Danny Williams.
Yeah.
He's fighting another ex-fighter, which I thought Danny had retired, and Danny's a good friend of mine. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to. I'm praying for him. So I know that if anything happened. So this is why I said to myself, I've got to really look out for Danny. I've got to really look out for him. I don't want nothing to happen to him. I've known him since he was a youngster. And then he came onto the England team and trained with us, and I've known. Then he turned pro, and he was a good pro. He had lots of. But look what's happened to Danny now. He can't stop boxing. I feel like I want to cry. And when I see him, he can't box in England, but he can go all over Europe and box, and people, take liberties with him. So
how old is Danny Williams now?
Oh, he's got to be 40 odd now. He's got to be 40 odd.
40 plus?
Yeah, I'm telling you. 40
Damn.
It's got to be. And
only got beat by a guy from a lighter weight division. A guy came up from lightweight and beat him or something like that, or welterweight.
Listen, it's the boxing game. Come on, you haven't got to. They're using a former champion, world champion, former person that beat another
Mike
world
Tyson.
Champion, yeah. So they're just using that to. But when you know somebody and he's like a brother to you, and it's hard to take. It's hard to take. They need the money and they need to, but it's getting worse and worse, isn't it? Come on. And this is what I feel sorry for people like Dylan. Is when he's exposed the way and he keeps getting hit and keeps getting dropped, it takes its toll.
Of course it does. So your punches is never the same.
Was good, and he could flow, he's move his head, and he could box. He could box like Muhammad Ali. He could box like, you know, Mayweather and do all this stuff. But all of a sudden, he started getting.
Dang! I've just found out.
And the more he kept getting caught, he became getting slower. And this is what I fear for people like, you know, Dillian. You know, they've got to try and stop him from getting caught.
Well, I think.
You know, the more he gets caught, the more, you know, confidence and that stays with you. You've got to know how to take that knockout, getting knocked down. You keep getting knocked down. You know, it's staying in that side of that brain where you know as soon as you get hit there, boom, you know you've got to come down. You don't want that. So you've got to now retrain that brain to take that out of your system, the way you think, and to now you've got to regroup and say, right, I can get over this, and you know, through the legends of fighters who do that. You know, the legend fighters get knocked, but then look what happened to a lot of our fighters. We go on too much, too long, and you know, and now they don't even know where they live.
It's not good, is it?
Their kids' names are.
Yeah, it's not good.
And England's not like America where you've got a champion in every corner, and they're all, you know, penniless now. They're all, most of them, and none of them look after each other. In England, they do a lot more to try and look after, you know. The local champion, you know, they all come and group and get together with the ex-boxers association. They all come together and they help out. And I've seen it because I've been to a few of their events where they help out. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that they have, and it really made me proud. You know, being British and being, you know, that they look after these fighters who've gone into these sort of wars they have to go into to make our country big in that sport, you know, and proud of our boxers and women who box now. So you have to look after these our fighters. You've got to do more, you know, for them when they finish their career, not just leave them on the side roads like they do in America. In America, unless you ain't got the money and put something away, you know, you're on the streets.
You're finished. I mean, I was thinking a cross-arm defense might be nice for Dillian Whyte for defense rather than the guard he's got at the moment, because that guard don't work.
Anything don't make him go on get hit on that chin, because you know you're getting hit on the chin for a big boy. It's not like getting hit chin on the chin like a welterweight or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can, you know, regroup a lot faster, a lot more, a lot quicker. You know, but heavyweights, it's not like that. You know.
It's not good. It's not good. Oh, I wanted to speak just a moment to pay tribute to former middleweight champion of the world, Alan Minto, who passed away.
Gee, yeah, I gave a call to Ross Minter. You know, he's a good friend of mine. That's his you know, his son.
Yes.
He had a daughter and a son, that's who I know, and the brother. See?
Yes.
But I knew the Ross very well. You know, he's such a lovely man, charming man. I know his wife and his kids, and you know, I'm just praying for Ross and his family.
Yes.
You know, for the loss of his dad. You know, a world champion. He went through it. You know,
he did.
You know, he was a legend. You know, he went to the Olympics, got a bronze, and then you know, this is when we used to build our fighters. They had so many fighters, so many amateur fights and one things and boxing, and then they had so many pro fights, and they become legends. You know, and now these young people. It's a business. Yeah, it's become a business. You can sell tickets if you go on Instagram and do this and get loads of followers, and bang, you can go and turn pro. You don't even have to, you know. It's madness what I'm seeing.
You've actually led us into our next part of conversation. Somebody that you know very well, the beast from the East, Anthony Yarde returns.
Yes, he's my son.
it's an interesting situation he's in now, because I heard BT Sports refer to Anthony Yarde as world class, and I yelped, because if you're calling Anthony Yarde world class, that means you're going to be putting him in a certain level and not allowing the young man to learn. And that's worrying, because that means they're going to expect him to take certain fights, and he might be ready for those fights.
He has to, because for me, I believe that he is world class. You know what I mean? Even though because he's somebody that was special. That's a kid who was special.
Yes.
And he should have gone to that path of the way that I told you. Lots of amateur fights and but these guys, the snakes, they came for him. He weren't going to stay. He wanted to help his family. He's another family man. He loves his family. See, he loves his mum. He loves his sisters. And his young boy. And you can never tell a kid that who wants to do well for his family. And that's what he did. He always, from the day he started boxing, he said to me, "Don, all I want to do the best for my family. That's all I want. And this game is going to get me that." I've tried every other sport. He's tried running. He could have been a basketball player. He could have been a sprinter for the Olympics. That's an athlete. And this game here brought him to me, and I had to develop him quick. And once I developed him, people were after him. They came and grabbed him. They took him, and that was it. So, but he's special. Believe me. Look. For someone and the fights that he's getting, he made up on that one. Look what he's done.
That Kovalev fight. I said the game plan for that Kovalev fight. I said for them to beat Kovalev, they've got to break Kovalev's body down early, and they must be able to negotiate the left jab of Kovalev. If Yarde sits on the back foot,
it's something that I feel that he learned, and that the best way is for him as an athlete that he is, and a special athlete. He's just got to find out. It won't happen again, because I'll tell you, that was the best lesson that he ever had. You could ever have. Look at that champion. And now, as you said, you were definitely right, because if he would have had the pedigree of these fights and experiencing the things, that the losses as an amateur and the lows of, and going to the games, one or two of them games, he would have had them with a little bit more experience. But it was like that, because he wanted to help his family. It's simple as that. They came when they saw this kid was knocking people out, for fun. I'm telling you, I would take him to events, and he was so excited. He would jump up and down, and he couldn't wait to box. And he was like a young kid, who just wanted to get in that ring. And you had the vultures waiting, because when they saw him, they were just talking about him, and they came to watch him. Sometimes I would go far away to make him box, so they wouldn't see him. But they came, they saw.
The thing is, I'm not. I've concerns about Yarde, because my concerns are this. I think he is X Factor material. One of the few fighters in the UK I think could be X Factor material.
Yeah, no way. You watch what happened in years to come.
My concern
for in your words, because why I say that he's special and he's an
athlete.
And he will become a world champion.
I've no doubt.
You've got someone like that who can take on somebody of that magnitude, somebody with that experience. Come on, Kovalev has had over 400 fights as an amateur.
Yeah, the problem I have here is not.
But he was on his way. Now, if he would have beat him, it would have been a different story. Do you understand? Everybody would have, whoa, this. They would have been saying this and that, and but it was the will of the Almighty God to say, this is how I want you to develop.
However,
what I want to learn.
However, that being said, he's X Factor. I definitely believe Anthony Yarde is X Factor. He has something. He's got personality. He's a good-looking guy. He's got punching power. He's got he's got charisma. He has that package there, and he can fight. The problem I have with this Anthony Yarde situation is how he is managed coming back. Now they're already talking about him fighting Lyndon Arthur and Joshua Buatsi.
He's not going to last long, is he? Come on, he's the fighting. You know, I'm telling you now, there's nobody who can in this country now. In this country now, come on, he has to go and fight world class fighters. That's the only thing.
So okay,
the only thing he's already gone and you know, Europe and all these. He's boxed the best there.
Okay, let me give you three. I'm going to give you one fighter I think he needs to avoid at this point in time, and that man, again, I'll keep on saying it, is Callum Johnson. Okay. Callum Johnson.
No, not really. No, see, that would be such a like a chess match. See, so and then you know, Callum. When you look at Callum, you know, boxed.
He went and fought Beterbiev. He fought. He boxed Beterbiev. Yes. Callum Johnson, not Callum Smith now. Callum Johnson.
Okay.
Callum Johnson's the guy that fought Beterbiev and dropped Beterbiev. He was the. I think he won the. In his amateur, he's very highly. I think 5 nations or something like that. He did. Very good fighter, Callum Johnson. Very good fighter. A punch, two-fisted attack, heavy-handed. He knocked out Frank Buglioni in a round. Guy is dangerous, but he's. I think his dedication is questionable.
I think they'll have to fight. Like you said, they're going to have to meet if they're the same weight and they're still doing good. That will come around, and you know, for me. I'd always believed that Anthony would come through that. You know,
that's a good fight.
It'll be hard, but he needs them fights.
He would want
them fights. Believe me.
So you don't. So the Lyndon Arthur fight, you don't think Lyndon Arthur will bring any sort of challenge to Anthony Yarde?
No, not at all. He'll box. He can do 2 things. You know, and then he'd either box his head off and punish him and then stop him, or he just stop him. He just go out there and just stop him early. You know, it depends how he feels. If he feels like he can play with him, that's how good and talented he is.
He's talented. He's very talented.
That's a special kid that we have in our midst, in our country, and a lot of people don't see it. You know, like you say, you see him as X Factor.
He's X Factor, absolutely.
I wouldn't see him as that, because where I've known him, you know, I would know him that he would challenge anybody, and that's how he made himself. That's what he did. He knew he was what he wanted to do this. He wanted to go. He didn't want to have so many, you know. He knew that if he was ready for somebody, he would try to challenge him straight away, you know, and that's the type of kid he is, you know.
One guy, I think,
and very good, like you say, you know, the X Factor, but he looks after a lot of, you know, good people, you know, and young people. You know, he goes to places and makes sure.
Yeah.
And there's things that, you know, you don't know what he does.
You know. The guys that help him and move around him, he gives them gloves. Yeah. He gives guys, you know. He's a lovely kid. He does a lot. He does a lot. The one fight I think he would do very well in, and I think he would beat, is actually Joshua Buatsi, based on what I've seen of Buatsi taking them right hands. In his last fight against Ryan Ford, he got hit with too many right hands, and I think he'd be a sucker for actually Yarde's right hand.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight, because they've been, you know, talking up that fight for a long time now, and it will happen. You know, it have to happen. Do you know what I mean? So I can't wait for that fight.
But
you know, for me, I said like, there's only one winner for me, you know, and that's Anthony, because, you know, Buatsi's a very good fighter.
Tony?
Yes, man, you got cut off.
Yeah, typical BT. In the middle of the night, BT like to just cut the internet. But we're back up. See, we were talking about BUATSI versus YARDE, a fight that you want to see.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to see that fight. Wow, you know, they're both talented, they're both respectable, you know, British fighters, which should be fighting the best. You know, not fighting people that, you know, are just gonna fall over. They should be fighting the best, and that's when we're gonna know who the best is. You know, when they start fighting the best. So, you know.
I mean, I know you've also had some dealings with BUATSI when he was fighting before, when he was younger.
Say that again.
You've worked with BUATSI before as well.
No, I know. I know. Umar Sadiq boxed BUATSI, I think, twice. You know, and he one time that he was very close, always very close. But BUATSI was an England boy, and Umar wasn't, and I think he just got the edge, you know. But look at Umar now. Look, you know,
yeah, it's
unbelievable, you know. So it doesn't really matter. It shows that's boxing, isn't it? Look where Umar is today. Today he boxes for a world title, and this BUATSI still been, you know, helps along.
Why do you think that is? That BUATSI's career has been so slow so far, in your opinion?
Because I think they're taking time with him. They know that he's going to be good. I feel that they know how good talent he is, you know. And I think that, you know, and I think you have to do that in the cases. But I feel, you know, he had a good amateur fight. He had a good amateur pedigree bring up. You know, he could have stayed there a little bit more longer, but he didn't want to, you know, and he wanted to turn pro. So I think that because of that, you have to look after him that little bit more. And the young kids which are going over today and turning over, you have to. If you don't, then what's happened is that their careers are cut short. Because why? They've been doing it so long. They've been, you know, since they turned pro 16, 17, you know, and they'll be doing it. And they don't know what it's like to be hit hard, you know, because from getting all that fast speed, blah blah blah, that the junior style, because they never boxed as a senior, so they don't know what it's like to be really hit. Now you give them journeyman, you know, all day long, and they're used to that, cracking them, you know, and they're getting looked after, and all of a sudden the next kid comes along who's going to be the next, you know, up and coming this and that. So they just use that. They use them young people, you know, and then once they're not what they're meant to be, that's it. They feed them to the lions, didn't they? They, you know, they get bit. But if they've got what they've got, and they can still develop, and you still give them the right fights, and you develop them with them fights and grow them with them fights, you know, you've got to take longer. And a lot of these guys are not taking longer to develop them. They want to do it in a short span of time, and then that's when they fall short, because now they start fighting fighters who are really strong now, who really want it, you know, who've had a good pedigree of, you know, the upbringing in boxing from a young age to, you know, and that bypasses that. See, they try and bypass it by thinking that they're gonna get people who are gonna fall over all day long, and now they're going to get somebody who really can hit and take shots and who hit with back. And now, whoa, they start thinking, because it gets harder now, because now they're going for these titles now. And that's why a lot of them, you don't see a lot of them. You know, they stop. They have families and girlfriends, and then they stop. Boxing's, you know, not their game. And then the kid who's had that genuine belief in himself and who's really, you know, put himself out there, they take over. You know, the one with the determination and desire to really make it. And they may not have had the talent as that kid who had the talent, you know, who won loads of junior titles and loads.
Yeah.
You know, they might not have that, but what they've done, they've had the desire.
Graft.
And yes, and all of a sudden they take over.
Of course.
6 years, 7 years, boom, they've gone over. And then the other kids, you know, they've had the talent. The way they've been looked after so much, they've been paid loads of money. You know, you've got these organisations now out there which are giving them money because they're fantastic juniors. really fast. They're like Supermen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that Superman becomes caught up with another, you know, superhero, which is just as good. And now you've got to see which superhero is going to last and who's going to.
Yeah, I get you.
Know what I mean?
I hear that.
And that's what happens. And that's what's happening now. You know, they all wanted to be pros at a young age, but it's not going to happen. You know, no, I'm talking about to get up there. It's only one or two that are going to get up there, and then I think the kid that always breaks is the kid who's always had the better upbringing.
Yep. Finally, as I said, YARDE is fighting this weekend against Del SPELMAN.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to last long either. You know,
I think he'll walk onto right hands.
I went and saw him, Anthony, a couple of weeks ago. I saw him and I said to him, right, you know, this is how this Spellman stands like this, and then he said, "Only talk about that now. I'm going to knock him out." he was that confident. That he didn't want to hear it. He didn't even want to hear the name. He just said, "Listen."
Yeah, the thing is, Spellman walks onto right hands. He doesn't move his head. He's a sitting target for right hands. He will walk onto right. He'll knock his own self out.
And the other fella who was going to box up the Spellman couldn't knock him out. He went all the way with him. So Spellman, he really felt good about himself, and he wanted to take on
YARDE
the beat from the east. So you know he's gonna regret that.
I think so. I think he'll walk onto right hands, but it could be interesting for as long as it lasts.
That's right. He'll regret that
because he'll walk onto right hands.
He wished that he would have waited and yeah, he wished he would have waited. That's how good the kid is.
Okay, so I think that's about it, really, to talk about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. Just still in Russia, so still having a good time.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Our prayers and our wishes are for Umar Sadiq tomorrow night, tonight. In fact,
Tonight.
He's been on our channel before, and we hope to welcome him back as world champion.
That's definitely, and when he is, I'll be back on your program talking how good he was.
Fantastic! I can't wait. Another world champion on the channel. That'd be fantastic.
All the best, my man.
Tony's just said all the best. Have a great night, and all the best for you guys today, later today.
Thank you.
God bless. Take care. So there you have it, live from Russia, exclusive interview with Tony Cessay, the trainer of Umar Sadiq, who is challenging for the world title against Chudinov in Russia tonight. So that's it. He talked about Anthony Yarde, talked about DILLIAN WHYTE. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you soon. Take care.